wow. Okay. Hey, what's good, Rance? How's it going? I see why people need a second monitor now. I can't look at chat and do this at the same time. But, how's it hanging? You know, I'm gonna forget. Why is this I'm just gonna do basically podcast, I guess. I don't have two monitors. It's hard for me to do that and this at the same time. I got two Knicks fans in my mentions telling me that refs don't clearly. The Knicks have been getting pretty favorable calls in the playoffs, just in general. Audio, yeah, I stopped that because I don't know how to stream like that yet. So we're just gonna do a good old webcam stream because I know how to do that at the very least. I guess I can. So, the playoffs, huh? Why do we have to wait until Friday for Game 3 of Minnesota Nuggets? Why do I have to wait until Friday to know if I should have any hope for the remainder of the season or not? Like, that's just kind of fucked up. I mean, maybe Jamal's calf gets right, but here's to say. Also, Rents, what's it like getting bitched by Jalen Brunson? Because you guys have been getting absolutely lit the fuck up. Like, I get that the refs have been kind of calling favorable calls in their direction, but also you guys let them shoot, I think, 57, 46, 81. It's always 2 days when the lower seed goes back home. Well, it's... Game 2 was on Monday. Not... It wasn't on... it's not on, like, Tuesday. That'd be different. Or, like, even Wednesday. So, you're wrong. Incorrect. As I've come to expect. It's really funny. And Emhard can't be as physical, or he just gonna start racking up fouls. I mean, Yeah, sure. But also 57, 46, 81 splits, buddy. Uh, that there is nothing to do with physicality there. If you're just leaving people open, they're going to shoot well. And you guys let Dante DiVincenzo get like a solid, I don't know, three wide open threes that he made last night. It's just defense is not your guys' forte. Like AAU squads might be able to score on y'all. Kobe, Kobe from playback could probably hit him with a bink bink and then splash something in their face. And he played AAU. What do you think of Jamal being a menace? Should bring back. Should definitely not bring back Flacco. You will never hear me advocate for that. Never in a million years will I advocate for that. But Jamal did have a bitch-made move on Monday. He should have been suspended for that probably. It's lucky that he wasn't, I guess, for the Nuggets. But also, he probably should have been. And also, did not talk to the media after game one or game two, and that's a little bitch made. I'm not saying he is completely bitch made or anything, but those were definitely moves that it's like, really, man? Really? Is that what we're doing? Uh, yeah, but when Nemhard is playing good Dion Brunson and he still hits a three or something, what else do you want him to do? I don't know. Take a shotgun and no, I'm not, I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. Make sure he can't make a three. I'm joking. Don't injure Jalen Brunson. I like Jalen Brunson a lot. Don't do that. If LeBron did that stuff, the Proud Boys would be after him. I mean, are you talking about the Jamal stuff? Because people have been pretty like, hey, that was not, that wasn't good against Jamal. Like people didn't like that. I mean, I agree that it would probably be a little louder if it was LeBron, but that's because it's LeBron. Like he's the biggest name in the NBA. It's not, Jamal Murray, who's like a fairly big name, but not like LeBron James. Like if I walk up to a random dude in like, I don't know, Norway, and I'm like, hey, name an NBA player, they'll probably say LeBron James. I don't know what you said except shotgun, but I just got here. We were talking about the Hi Rudy, I think probably. We were talking about how to play defense on Jalen Brunson. Uh, and shotgun to the knees seems like a pretty effective defensive scheme against anyone really, not just Jalen Brunson. So, I think Tibbs just trying to get you to talk smack against the Nuggets. I mean, I'll happily talk smack against the Nuggets right now because, I mean, shit, dude, that was the saddest effort I've seen from them, like, ever probably in Game 2. Like, they just gave up. They just stopped trying after a certain point. Like, they got punched in the mouth early on. They kept it somewhat close, right? Like, it was 4 or 5 points. And then Malone loses his shit for some reason. And after that, it just balloons to, like, the 30-point lead that happened. And then they had a fake little comeback for a second there to cut it down to, like, 17 in the fourth quarter. Malone, for some reason, didn't bring Jokic in at that point. Let Justin Holiday rock. And then one thing led to another. And 26. Why did you change your channel logo? It was so funny. It was a little distorted. And I don't know. I just felt like having a new one. I might change it again at some point, but like, I don't know. I might go back to the old one, but I felt like trying to change it up a little bit. I was looking at old album covers that I have, and one of them was Electric Ladyland by Jimi Hendrix, and I was like, let me make a Nuggets version of that. So, yeah. And yeah, that's basically why I changed it. I think I did an okay job. I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, as I was saying, the Nuggets just kind of gave up. You went to college? No, no, I did not. That's a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money. So if I would have gone, I would have gone for like broadcast journalism or something, and I was already doing that. So I didn't feel the need to, you know, do that. I just kind of felt like, yeah, no, I could probably let it rock with what I was doing. And then, I mean, I got laid off eventually, but I'm getting back into it. And eventually, I I plan on maybe I'm learning coding right now, so that's probably what I'll end up doing as like an actual decently paying job if I stick with it and all that stuff. How you get so far in your field then? Okay, here's my origin story, right? So I think if I remember right, you watch my old videos, right? Like the ones from a few years back. If that's the case, that's where I got my starting point. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like writing because I think at the time I was a better writer than I was a video maker. And I still probably feel like I'm a better writer than I am a video maker, but also video is a lot easier to just produce on like a daily, semi-daily basis, you know. I've been uploading, I think, 3-4 times a week on average so far since I've been back. And it's a lot easier to just do that than to do the super in-depth, like, writing stuff. I still do that just on my Substack instead of, like, you know, I do it a couple of times a month instead of, you know, like, a few times a week like I did when I was writing. But basically, I was like, you know what, I want to just write for a little while. So I reached out to Ryan Blackburn, who ran Denver Stiffs at the time, and he still does Nugget stuff. I think he said this was his last season covering stuff, but if you do want like Nuggets content, Ryan Blackburn's a great writer. He also does podcasts and stuff. He's great. But basically, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I want to write. Do you have any spots on your writing staff? I will be an intern. I will do it for free. And he was like, yeah, sure. So the first season I worked there, I wrote for free. And then they ended up liking me a good amount. Ryan left after the first year, but you know it was an in-house promotion for the next site manager, and they liked me, so they kept me on board and also promoted me to lead writer. And then with being a lead writer, I got a media credential. And then I did, I think, my best work with like the Peyton Watson piece. I really liked. I did a piece on Aaron Gordon that was pretty good. Like I worked hard once I got like the job, and then it ended up paying off. That's basically how I got that far into it. It's not like a complex story. It's just basically I was 17, I could afford to work for free. So I did for a little while, and then I started getting paid. Not great. Sports journalism does not pay well, but you know, I got paid, and I got to have a media credential, which was a cool experience. But yeah, that's because I'm not even I wouldn't be graduated from college even if I went to college. I'm only 20, so I do not. I would be like a sophomore in college right now. I think going like going into my junior year if I were to go. But yeah, I sports journalism is fun. I if you like writing, I recommend it, but also don't expect it to be your full time job. I was getting paid nowhere near enough to make it a full time job. You feel like the future of journalism. Yeah, the future of journalism is definitely like video based. I think there's still room for like articles and that sort of thing. You know, like I still go out of my way to read a good amount of some articles, like Matt Issa. I read still Mark Schindler, Nikias Duncan, Jackson Frank. Like you know the bigger ish names in like the NBA Twitter space, like the actual NBA Twitter, not you know I see Zeke Naji season 23 underscore with this as the, not that NBA Twitter, but like actual like discourse NBA Twitter. And there's still some room for that, but I do think a lot of it is going to be video based, just podcasts. This sort of short form content that I do. If you want more X's and O's stuff, like Alex Hoops does good stuff there. Thinking basketball, obviously. Most people are trending towards watching videos over reading articles, so that's the largely like, that's what is the thing there. But I used to read football magazines when I was younger. Now all the sports stuff I consume is on YouTube. Makes me wonder where those jobs are. Yeah, I think a lot of it. I mean, there's still stuff that they do employ people, right? But a lot of it doesn't pay well. So like, when I was working at SB Nation, I was making $150 a month, and that was before I got my promotion. And they promised me a raise a couple of times. It never ended up coming, and then I got laid off. And that's not necessarily an uncommon experience in the sports journalism field. So a lot of people do work in sports journalism, but they have to do other things to make ends meet. So like I did some game journalism, like video game journalism stuff during that time too to make ends meet. So I ended up writing for like Game Rant. I didn't produce anything good there. You don't need to go read that stuff. But it was just like, I put out shit to make ends meet. And then I was also working part-time, doing like youth sports stuff near my house. So like that's what I do, and then or did. And then I know like there were a couple NBA or Nuggets beat writers who I know were doing like copywriting stuff. Not copyright as in like copyright claims and that sort of thing, like DMCA stuff that you would know from like YouTube, but like copywriting is known. It is like writing brand stuff, right? So like item descriptions and like sales and that sort of thing. So like if you see a 50% off sale and it's like, oh, yada yada yada, that's copywriting, like that. Yeah. But to answer, I don't know how there are a good amount of jobs, but also a lot of the jobs are either done for free or don't pay well, and there's also not as many jobs as you would think. Like there are, if you want, you can work for like Fansided or SB Nation, right? And there's like a decent amount of jobs there, but that's really like the only two big employers still in the space that offer a decent amount of jobs, and the rest is like there's a million people trying to get like one job if one job becomes available. And a lot of it is also freelance. Like very rarely do you see people like be contracted to one site, or like even consistently write for one site. It's like, oh, I have an article. Does anyone want this article? And then, some random site will be like, yeah, no, we'll pay you $25-$50 for it. And then they publish it, and that's a freelance article. But yeah. If you, I don't think there's many viewers, but if any of you do have questions, ask away, and I will answer. I remember when I was younger, I was going to work in sports. I went to college and did sports management. I found the field. Yeah, no, sports jobs are very limited. Sports management, I'm not, like, I know it is a useful degree if you're trying to get into sports management, but it isn't mainly what front offices look for a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the time, if they're doing CBA stuff, or they'll want like finance people or lawyers, like law degree people, like a lot of it is coding stuff. It's, like you need analytic experience. Like a lot of it isn't just knowing the game, knowing who's good. at the game, you know, that's like general manager stuff. You also need to be able to do other stuff. So like video coordinators will, you know, work with video software. So if you have experience with software and you can clip easier and all that stuff, that's very valuable. If you want to be a scout, you kind of need to be able to know, like, you need to know people and connections and all that sort of stuff. A lot of it is also just who you know, not what you know. And that's kind of life in general, you know, but it is especially in sports where it's like uh, nepotism hires, for lack of a better term, you know, like if you're looking at two people and one of them is the son of someone who you really respect and was like your friend, or a fresh graduate from like Columbia University, right? It would be like, yeah. I just wanted to talk to LeBron. Now I'm about to graduate from international business because I realized, yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, yeah, a big reason I got into sports is because I wanted to interview guys, and I think I'm gonna try and get a credential again next year, and I think there's a decent shot of that happening. But like the coolest thing I did, in my opinion, for my job was like the exclusives I did. Like the coolest experience for me as far as basketball writing went was the Peyton Watson exclusive I did with him and Calvin Booth, because it was really cool to be like at summer league, see these guys, go to the practices where I was like one of two media members, and then like, you know, just it was a cool experience to just talk with them, pick their brains a little bit, you know. And a lot of them don't give you super good answers, you know, like Jamal Murray is never really going to give media great answers unless like he likes you and he likes like maybe two media members that I can think of. But like Peyton Watson gave really good quotes. Like you could ask Peyton Watson a simple question and he'd give you like a 3-minute response, which is great. Like that's really not super common, but he was a great interview. And like same with Aaron Gordon, you know. So I did a couple of exclusives, and those were like the funnest stuff that I did, probably. And I mean, it is also cool going to practices and like getting into areas that, you know, normal people don't really go to. Like that is really cool. And also, I got to go to a bunch of Nuggets like home games, so that was cool. You know, I got to go for free because I was covering the games, and seeing live basketball is dope. Is everyone just trying to find a way for the Joker to open up? Uh, yeah, kinda. No one's really found a way to crack him, and it's been what, like 9 years at this point. I don't know if he's going to crack, but Mike Singer, who is like no, he's like the biggest Nuggets beat writer, right? He didn't do a writing thing this year because he was working on a book. It just got announced, and I think he like that's probably the closest that anyone's gonna get to opening Joker up. Like, if it's not in the book that is written about him, I don't know where he would open up. Like, I think the only spots that he does open up to is like sometimes Serbian reporters will come, and then I think he gives them pretty decent answers most of the time. But yeah, like just learn Serbian. Yeah, I should just learn. I should just learn that. Yeah, that's really on me. It would be really funny if like in the year I took off, I went and learned Serbian and then like showed up on media day and just started speaking Serbian to him. But he'd be able to tell that it's not, I'm not Serbian, right? So I think I think he'd probably see that as corny. Uh, but who knows? I also, what content have you guys? It might literally only be you watching at this point, Mo. But what content has been like your favorite since I've come back and started making regular content again. Like, what sort of videos have been? Because I've made a couple of different types. You know, what's like? Do any of them stick out, or is it just kind of all the same shindig? You know. Because I do like doing the podcast stuff that I did, like the like fan stuff, but also I'm waiting until after the playoffs are over to do that because, you know, if someone wins the title, that will definitely change the outcome of that podcast. So, like, I know Dom 2K is down to do one, but I'm waiting to see if the Celtics get eliminated or if they win the title before I do that. So, podcast definitely the best. Okay, that makes sense. Like, I do like doing the shorter form stuff, but I do feel like the longer stuff is probably just better. Like, as far as, you know, just the meat on the bones and that sort of thing. I think also it's easier to like actually, to be honest, I just like NBA talk that doesn't come from dumbasses. That's fair, and I think that qualifies. I get good guests on, like Samson Folk, excellent basketball mind, smarter than me. He was a great first guest, um, and I had a lot of fun recording with Samson. He was a lot of fun to record with. I think I do plan on streaming more soon. I wanted to do like a little test run, you know, see if anyone would show up, and like a couple of people have, and that's enough for me. Um, I do plan on streaming like basketball talk over probably. Ideally, I'd be playing Pokemon over it. I need to find a way to get my hands on a new 2DS or new 3DS because I do have my old one here. I do have this one, and I tried to get it to stream to my computer, and it just can't. It doesn't have like the hardware necessary because Nintendo didn't put a ton of great stuff in the old systems. So I need like a new 2DS or 3DS to do that. But if I do, I plan on playing like Pokemon over basically just doing this. And I think that would be fun. I think that would be a fun stream, you know, because I like Pokemon. And I like talking basketball. So it would be the best of both worlds, really. But, yeah. Like, I got, like, maybe 5 frames a second on this. Like, it was not doing too hot. Yeah. Let alone, like, if I were to try and stream from a DSi or something, right? Because I found this as well. I don't think you can really stream from these, though. And also, I don't have the money for a capture card, so I kind of need to be able to stream it from Homebrew. But yeah, let's see. What are the games tonight? Cavs, Celtics, and Thunder, Mavs, right? I wonder how the Thunder and Mavs. I wonder how the Mavs come back in this series because they have not done too good of a job so far. If we're being honest, right? Luka has not looked great. Yeah, okay, it is Mavs Thunder and Celtics Cavs. Celtics Cavs. I feel bad for the Cavs. That's all. That's all. I feel bad for the Cavs. I just do. Like, what are they supposed to do, man? Mitchell could put up like 80 points, and they probably still wouldn't win. Like, they probably still just, you know, come up maybe 5 points shy if Mitchell dropped like 70, which he can do. He's done before. Maybe they get one game if he drops a 70 piece. Outside of that, yeah, no, it's probably Celtics in 4. The Celtics have the most cakewalk path to the finals I maybe have seen in a while. Sans the Knicks. The Knicks, I think, have a puncher's chance against them. I wouldn't pick them against the Celtics. Don't misstrew what I'm saying. But I do give them a puncher's chance, like a 10% chance of winning that series. Cavs team is one trade away from greatness. They're trading Donovan this offseason probably because like, let's let's be real here. Donovan Mitchell has 1 year left on his contract after this year. Probably doesn't want to stay in Cleveland, so you might as well trade him and get something for him. You know, you might as well be able to get something out of him. If you're not gonna be able to keep him, trade him, get like a pick or two. Yeah, that's really what that comes down to. They should keep him and trade Garland and Mobley. Yeah, I mean Garland and Mobley have not been good, but I don't think it would convince him to stay. I think if we're being honest, it also comes down to the fact that it's Cleveland. To quote Joakim Noah, who the fuck wants to play in Cleveland? Um, like, nothing against, Cavs and whatnot, but also, who the fuck wants to play in Cleveland? It's not, it's not exactly a hot spot, and, like, Mobley, I don't know if you get enough for Mobley to trade him to justify it, because what's wrong with Cleveland? I'm not American. I mean, it's not. There's nothing necessarily wrong with Cleveland. It's just kind of the middle of nowhere, and like not that cool of a place. Like it's not the middle of nowhere like where, like Colorado's kind of in the middle of nowhere, like compared to the rest of the United States. But at least Colorado has like the mountains, right? They have like cool scenery. He did play in Mormonville, and Mormonville had more scenery than Cleveland. Cleveland has like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's in like Coney Point or Coney Island, and that's about it. He's still in the Midwest though. Yeah, what I'm saying is I think he wants to get out of the Midwest. I think he wants to go to like Miami or something. Like I think the more that comes out about this, I think the more I think a 3-team deal is going to happen, right? Where I think the Heat are going to trade. The Heat are going to get Mitchell. I think they trade Jimmy Butler this offseason for Donovan Mitchell, basically, to the 76ers. And then I think the Cavs get, pieces from both teams. I think that's what's going to happen. Because, like, the Sixers have some picks, and the Heat have some good young pieces. So, like, if you get, Jovic, Jaime Jaquez in, like, 4 firsts or, like, 3 firsts, that's not a bad haul. So dumb players are all, like, frat boys looking for pieces. No, not all. Not all of them, but Mitchell probably wants to play in Miami. He was almost traded to Miami a couple seasons ago. But he wasn't. It fell through because KD became available and the Heat wanted to trade for him. And by the time they got back to it, he had been traded to Cleveland. But, like, Jokic has stayed. Giannis has stayed. Dame was going to stay. He probably would have stayed for a while, but, they ended up trading him. Russ stayed for a while. Like, there's a lot of players who stay. It's becoming easier to be a small market team, I think, in today's league, especially with like the new CBA and stuff. Because like Shea isn't leaving OKC anytime soon. Surely, if you're rich, you just want to be in a chill place where you won't be seen. I don't, not necessarily. There are some guys who want like a nightlife sort of city, and Cleveland is not a nightlife sort of city. Miami, New York, and LA definitely are. Vegas is going to be a hellish place to play when that comes around because, good lord, that is all that city is nightlife. So you're going to have the real sickos of the league wanting to go to Las Vegas. That's where real sicko shit is going to be going down. James Harden will be a Las Vegas whatever. Man, I don't get rich athletes. I don't think any of us do. It's a completely different world than the ones we live in. Like, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's completely different. Like, I don't wake up and have millions of dollars in my bank account, so I gotta, do some stuff. And they wake up and they do. So they're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna hop on a plane to Cabo for a little bit. I'm gonna go, like, they can kind of do whatever. Meanwhile, we can't. But what was I on? What was I talking about? I don't remember. Um, this is why I major in Yaponomics. I just yap, 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 and then eventually I forget, and then I start yapping about something else. I get bored, so then I'm like, let me live stream, let me record a video, let me yap for a little while. Because I can yap about NBA for a while. I can yap about basketball. But, oh, yeah, because, like, Jaime Jaquez and like, I'd assume Tyler Hero probably, and, like, Jovic. And then, like, the 28 Clippers pick from the Sixers, a couple of Heat picks maybe, and then, like, another pick from the Sixers. And that's a pretty good haul for Mitchell. It's not as much as you gave up for him, but it is, like, a pretty solid haul. Yeah. Like, it's pretty solid. Um, yeah, but he also has to play awful basketball with the Heat. I mean, I don't think it would be nearly as bad as it would be with Mitchell instead of Butler. An average 23 points per game. Nah, he's gonna average like 28 points a game. You see, Emma, he gets to do this in Miami though. Is the thing. Like, Miami is a pretty cool city. If you're a rich athlete, I wouldn't personally want to live there. But also, I'm not a city person for one, and for two, I hate the humidity and the heat. So not for me. But the Heat as in, like, the weather, not the basketball team. I don't really hate the basketball team. I have nothing against them. Heat culture is a little annoying. It's like, we get it. You work hard. Okay. You're a play-in team every year. You take regular season games off. It's not, like, to the same extent of, like, oh, yeah, all right. Like, if the playoffs are your thing, cool. But also, if you're gonna have the culture of, like, everyone works hard, we all, yada yada. Like, bro, work hard the entire time. Which is, I think, one of the reasons they're, like, getting tired of Butler, because it's funny. Pat Riley basically told Jimmy Butler in his post game, or, like, exit interview, whatever, to basically shut the fuck up, and that was funny as hell to me. And that kind of had the writing on the wall of, hey, he's probably gone. I would only go there to see Messi. Yeah, I wish I could watch Inter Miami. I wish they would come to Colorado, because then I could, get tickets to a Rapids game probably. But also, I don't think they're coming to Colorado this season. So, what'll you do? Yeah. I would absolutely go watch Messi if I could, but I'm tempted to go. Pat Riley is such a mafia boss. Yeah, he is. He's really just the Godfather, but NBA version. Like, he's what I imagine Tony Soprano would be as like a. I haven't seen The Sopranos. Don't take my word seriously there, but, like, an Italian mobster as a GM basically. That was so unnecessary. Yeah, but also Jimmy Butler does a lot of unnecessary shit, so, like, it's not necessarily out of the blue, I guess. Like, it is a little out of the blue. I don't remember. I wouldn't have anticipated him, like, shooting him down like that. But I do think he was kind of getting a little fed up with his gimmicks, and also he also called Tyler Hero fragile too. I think, basically, which is insane. He was like, we need players to play more. Basically, they're like, hey, man, you need to fucking play more. And it's funny that it came out that it was like, this is this is something that has happened before. These are conversations that have happened and are currently happening. You know, like it came out like, oh yeah, no, they talked to him about playing last year. They're like, hey, you need to play in more regular season games. You need to, and like for half the games he missed this season or something, like it was injury management was the reason he was out. And like, I'm not saying he wasn't injured, but he was also probably not injured for some of them. You know, I'm not saying for all of them, but like for some of them, he probably just wanted to take the night off. Which, when the whole thing is, hey, everyone works hard all the time, it's sicko shit. You kind of need to have everyone show up. Like, the Heat are just so funny to me. The Heat really are just so funny to me. Man, being a white boy isn't easy. Bro's like 190 pounds. I mean, yeah, yeah, but also there's a reason he's in trade conversations every off season. Like, I don't I don't know how he hasn't been traded yet. If I'm being frank, like I just don't know. Like every off season, it's like, hey, Tyler Hero's gonna get traded for a star, and then every summer he's back. He's back. He's not good. I know. I know he's not good. Like, I watched the postseason. I watched the play-in games. I saw him take 30 shots and shoot like 33%. He was basically white boy Dion Waiters. But you know, for a while he was seen as like a good young commodity. I don't know what his trade value would be nowadays, more or less, but you know. But yeah. Oh, another thing that helped me get a little further into going back to like how did I get far into the field? Just knowing people, meeting people. Locker room helped a lot. It was an app that was basically Twitter Spaces, um, and I just met some YouTubers through that, and that helped me like learn how to make better content. Why American whites so bad at basketball? Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, a lot of them are like the Alex Caruso, Christian Brown archetypes, and then the others are shooters. Like who's the best one in the league? I'm trying to think, and I don't. It's like all the good ones are European, for the most part. I think. Um, yeah, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Locker room was fun. Feels like a fever dream. It does. Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like it actually happened a lot of the time. I forget about it, and then I remember, and I'm like, oh, right, that happened. Huh? Would you look at that? You know. Yeah, like that's where I met Dom. That's where I met Jacob. Um, I met a couple other YouTubers there, but most of the YouTubers I know now I met through like just being friends with other YouTubers. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah. It also is like crazy how much they sold the bag there. Well, actually, they sold it to Spotify, so I guess they got a bag, but then Spotify killed it basically, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I I find it funny that I was like, oh yeah, no, I'll stream something over this, and then I realized I have never streamed before, so it's a webcam because I don't know how to stream anything else. Twitter took that shit fast. Yeah, no, they did. It's like Snapchat and stories. Instagram snatched that shit, and then Spotify, and then Snapchat died. Snapchat, bye bye. You know, it was basically just bye bye after that, and yeah. But I will say, I think playback is a platform with some staying power. I think that's gonna stick around. If you don't know, it's basically just Twitch, but you can watch NBA games on there. So it's like watch parties and that sort of thing. And I think that's going to stick around for a while. I hope it does because I actually really enjoy that platform. I like streaming on there a lot. I might try and make my own channel on there for like my own streams, but also I don't know. I like streaming with other people mostly on that platform, so we'll see what happens there. I do also. I have a WNBA draft to prepare for tonight. I need to determine who the woman Andre Drummond is. I need to see who's like rebound monster because rebounds are like broken in fantasy basketball. So let me look up actually who the rebounding leader was last year. Let's see. What? Okay. Uh, Alyssa Thomas. Okay. Cardozo. Maybe, but also she got injured, so I think she's gonna miss like a month, which is like unfortunate because I was like, oh, I'll just take a bunch of rookies because most of the, I know some WNBA players, right? Like I know Brianna Stewart, I know, you know, Deanna Taurasi. I know like a fair amount. Jewel Lloyd, Arike. I don't know how to say her last name, but Arike. But also like most of the people I know, because I'm starting to get into it this season, right? I'm new to it. I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means. Most of the people I know were drafted this season. Like I know Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Nick Mule, you know, Cardozo. And I was gonna draft a bunch of rookies, but now like Cardozo's hurt, and I'm like, I don't, you know, maybe I'll take Angel Reese in like a later round because from what I'm aware, she's not gonna play a ton up front. Kelsey Plum is pretty solid. Sabrina Ionescu, I'm probably gonna take because I don't know, 3-pointers, you know. Also, some fire shoes. Like Sabrina ones look real good, real comfortable. Oops. Asia Wilson, yeah. Aaliyah Boston as well. Um, yeah, no. If I can, I'm gonna take both of the Fevers people, um, like Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, because I think they're gonna be fun and good. um, yeah. Sorry, allergies, allergy season, pollen. Um, but yeah, that's probably who I'm thinking, who my targets are. You know, because it's like in fantasy football. Like if you can get a quarterback and a receiver, you know, like a handcuff, that's good, right? Or like a running back and a quarterback, something like that. Because if you get like Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelsey, that's going to be like 90% of the Chiefs' touchdowns right there, and the Chiefs score a lot. But if you get a great pick and roll duo, you get their assists, their points, their rebounds, and I have a feeling that pick and roll duo is going to be nasty. So, yeah, that's the thought process with those picks. But also, I was trying to determine the woman Andre Drummond, and I realized no one averaged double-digit rebounds last season, so I don't think a woman Andre Drummond really exists. Um, but I will say, Alyssa Thomas does seem like a good pick because she averaged, you know, solid amount of points, like 15, 10 rebounds basically, 9.9, you know, we'll round up, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, half a block, pretty efficient. So I think I'm going to go Alyssa Thomas as well. She's probably a good pick, right? You know. But yeah. All right. I think I'm probably going to wrap up. I've streamed for about an hour. I'll start doing this more often if people want. I'll figure out how to actually like stream good, like proper, because I didn't know really how to stream too well before this, and I'm realizing I still don't. So I'll figure out how to get like an overlay going and all that shit. But until that point, I think I'm gonna head out. So thank you guys for watching. Video coming soon, probably like tomorrow, if I had to guess. But yeah, that's that. That's been me.